Light, camera, action. Let's start the show. Here's a little bit of wedding advice from me to help your love story unfold. Welcome, ladies, grab your crowns, and we're going to get started with today's episode. We're planning your wedding from age 14-year-old you, as you guys know that, but we have fast forward into the age in which you are engaged. So anybody that needs help with starting to plan their wedding before they even get proposed, make sure that you go back and look at season 1, because those will help you in planning well before you're preparing beforehand. Okay, so make sure that you go back and look at season 1 to check that out. But right now we are in season 2 and we are on episode 15. Oh my goodness, this is great. So we're in season 2, episode 15, and today we are talking about the overall wedding timeline. Now, this is going to help both you and the groom. I know that most brides are the ones that watch a lot of wedding planning information and videos and topics and things like that. But as you guys know, I have curated our wedding planning to be for both the bride, the groom, the parents, the grandparents, and the guests. So everybody is involved in this wedding planning. Everybody. I curate a different topics, and those topics I talk about who it's for, usually I try to do it before, like in the beginning of the episode. So just so that you know, this one is curated for the both of you. So if both of you are in the room or both of you can go back and watch this, that would be great, because I believe that both the bride and the groom should be equally involved in the wedding planning process. I pause because I know a lot of people don't feel the way that I do. I know everybody thinks that it's her wedding day and that's it. Let's jump in. So today's topic, we are talking about the overall wedding timeline. These are milestones that matter, okay? I know that people have heard that phrase a lot these days, that matter. And so we are talking about these milestones that are going to matter most in your wedding. Now, there might be some milestones that matter really in your family that might be really important. So I don't want you to not, put these down as well. And maybe you can even share those with the rest of us so that, maybe something that we want to add to our timeline too. So grab your notebook, grab your notes, whether that be digital or whether that be your hard copy notebooks. As you guys know, I like to use more of a pen and paper type of notebook. Okay, I like something that I can carry with me everywhere. I can pull out easily, I can take notes, I can look at it, and I don't need a password and all this other stuff and staring at the blue light all day to get to it. So we are creating our wedding planning timeline right now. We have done a lot up until now. Season 1 and season 2. This is now, I was going to say halfway through season 2, but this is more than halfway through season 2. We only have about 6 episodes left in season 2 before we're jumping into season 3. So make sure that you take out your notes, your notebook, and as well as take out your wedding calendar. Hopefully you do have a wedding calendar. Remember, we did go over those like 8 must-haves to keep you organized. So if you need to go back and check those out, there's 2 videos that are really, really helpful when it comes to like staying organized as a bride and groom. And I talked about them early on in season 2 because we were getting into the nitty-gritty right after you get engaged. So let's look at these milestones that matter. We are going to be talking about 6 must-haves for your calendar. So 6 must-haves that you should put on your calendar to keep you going in this wedding planning season. And number 1, obviously, is the wedding date. You want to put down the wedding date. This is going to be the most important milestone that you need for planning your wedding. And I say that with a smile and a giggle because there's so many people that get engaged. And I think it's just because the man wants to like shut her up. He wants her to stop talking about when are we going to get married and when are we going to be engaged and when are you going to propose to me. So then the guy will like put a ring on her finger to keep her quiet, but then they don't have a wedding date. What's that all about? What is that all about? Like, I think it's just to keep her quiet. He's tired of hearing her asking. He doesn't want her to feel left out. All her other friends are getting married and doing this thing. And so it's like she's looking like, hello, when are we going to do this? And you know who those people usually are? People who live together are people who've stepped out and are already married physically, but they're not legally married. It's people who usually are like that. They're like, oh, I just don't know. And hopefully one day, and what is going on? And yeah, I can't do it yet for her because, like, we're not ready or whatever. The guy says all these different excuses. And that's because, like, people say he's already like got the milk, like, why should he buy the cow? Or however people say that stuff. I don't know what they say, but yeah, something like that. And so it's, they're playing this weird game. And so that's why, and this is not a joke, and that's why we've been doing dating for marriage the right way. That's what our wedding series is really about, right? So you go back to season one, and it's dating for marriage the right way. So that you don't find yourself in this silly game that people are playing, talking about it's complicated. What's complicated? Like, you have made it complicated. That's what's happened. So it shouldn't feel that way. It shouldn't feel so complicated. And it's time to get on track. You need a wedding date. So that's the first thing that's going to go on your wedding calendar and inside of your wedding notebook. Okay, we've talked about so many things. We already talked about picking a date. We talked about how to pick a date. Go back and look at that if you need to learn how to choose a date. Okay, but you need to pick a date. The next thing on your milestone that matters calendar and notebook is your wedding events. By now, we've talked about these wedding events. You know what they are. It's everything from the proposal to the wedding day. What are you going to have in between to celebrate this engagement? Are you having anything? Are you having an engagement party? Are you doing a bridesmaid's proposal brunch to propose to your bridesmaids or your groomsmen? Are you doing a wedding day shopping, like a wedding gown, wedding day shopping, wedding gown shopping? And you need to put those dates on there, okay? So that you and whoever's going with you is going to, know those dates. Then you're going to be looking at what else is after wedding gown shopping. We have the said browsing proposal. Oh my gosh, we have so many events. You guys, help me out. What are these other events? Oh, it's going to be the after the gown shopping bachelorette party or hen do party or bachelor party, things like that that you start putting down on the calendar, as well as your wedding shower, your bridal shower, rehearsal dinner, rehearsal. Obviously, those that comes like literally the day before, so it's not the most hardest one to figure out a date for, right? And then you may have a welcome party for those who don't live in your city, state, or country. Remember, you don't have to have all those events, but a lot of people do have all those events and even more. Some people have like so many engagement parties because they don't live in the same city as all their friends and family. So then they end up having like lots of engagement parties, which is kind of fun and exciting. I like that. I know we had a lot of little mini ones along the way, just little mini ones with those loved ones who like didn't live in the same city and stay with us and they wanted to like celebrate us as well. So you're going to put your wedding events down, all those beautiful wedding events. The next thing is booking a venue. When you're going to be going on your venue shopping days, you want to put down venue shopping days, right? So you want to put those down on the calendar. You're obviously going to make an appointment for most of these. They're not just like usually walk in, hey, we're here. I mean, you can try it, but most of them do want you to make an appointment. So you're going to put down your wedding venue shopping days as well. If you only end up with one day, perfect. You are very lucky. The next one is booking vendors. So when it comes to booking your wedding vendors, you also want to put these important dates down as well, because maybe you want to put down the days you're going to be calling them, right? To be making sure, okay, These are the days I'm going to be reaching out to them. I've done my research, and now I'm going to be making sure that I call these people. And then they may also want to see you in person. Some of the vendors might want to show you some things in person. Some of them may not go over pricing on the phone. Depends on the vendor, right? And so you also want to put those dates down too. You may even do some video calls with them, and obviously you'd want to put those down as well. So the next thing that you want to have on your wedding calendar is deposits due, wedding deposits that are due for your vendors. You don't want to leave this out because this is important. This is obviously involving your money and the budget binder that we've created that is going to help you along the way with how much are we spending and how much of our budget is still left. So you want to make sure you put down all the deposits that are due onto this calendar because you don't want to miss those dates. You don't want somebody be coming looking for you like, "Hey, where's our money? You need to pay us. You forgot about this important date." They'll probably send you a reminder through that wedding email that you guys created as a couple. Remember, we created a separate email, and so you just want to make sure that you're doing your things, okay? You're doing the things and you're keeping track of stuff. This is why a lot of people who don't want to have a wedding planner are doing this the right way by staying organized. That's the only way to do this without a wedding planner constantly reminding you, okay, this is next, this is next. They're just telling you what to do next most of the time, and they don't really have much to do themselves. I mean, they've got some things to do. We'll talk about that at the end of the video, but make sure that you put down your deposits due. Then you want to write down on your calendar balances that are due. So any balances that are due as well, and this also involves money. This is your budget binder. How much are you spending? So a lot of these people are going to say, okay, you have a deposit that's due once you book with them, and then now we want the rest of our money, and that comes before you have the wedding. Okay. So don't think you're going to have this big lavish wedding day and you haven't paid all these vendors and the venue, which is your top vendor. So don't think that that's going to happen. You need to make sure that you put down when those balances are due. So those are our 6 main milestones that matter when it comes to building our wedding timeline. Those are the biggest ones. Now, there's a lot of little ones in there, that you guys could add, like when are you going to go shopping for all your event outfits, and there's all kinds of stuff, okay, that you can put down in there. When, I don't know, there's a lot of things. There's when you're going to go get your accessories for your dress. I mean, there's a lot of things you can add in there, but these we're talking about the 6 major milestones that matter. Now, I do want to give 2 bonus tips, okay, to add to the wedding calendar. These are going to be 2 bonus tips that I would like for you to add on there. And that is going to be the save the dates. When are you going to be sending those out? If you have on your calendar, okay, we're sending these out in 2 months, well, guess what? We need to go ahead and make sure that we've already created our save the dates and that we have a way to getting them to everybody, whether it be digital or whether we're going to be sending them out through the mail. And so then you want to make sure that you put on the calendar, okay, this is the day that we're sending out our save the dates, and everybody should receive them hopefully within 2 weeks of the time that we've sent them out. Okay. The next part is going to be sending invites. Obviously, if we mention send the dates, then we're going to mention the main invitations. This is another milestone that matters that I would like to add on as 2 bonuses, and that is the save the dates and sending out the invitations themselves. It's important that you remind yourself, okay, we're sending out the invitations on this day. Once again, we want to make sure, okay, are we prepared to send them out on that date? Not that we're just putting things on the calendar and we're not prepared for these things that are coming up. It's important, you guys. It's important. So by now, you should have already decided, are we having a wedding planner or not? By this point, we did an amazing video about professional wedding planners versus a DIY bride. And we talked about a full service wedding planner, a partial wedding planner, and we also discussed the DIY bride and the day of coordinator. Okay, so it's important that you guys go back and watch those two videos. It was a two-parter. One of them was just talking about the day of coordinator, and the other one was talking about the professional wedding planner versus the DIY bride. It's a juicy topic. Everybody's trying to figure out, do we really need them? And so I break down what they do and what they don't do, and what they say they're going to do and what they probably won't deliver on. And so we also discussed that versus the DIY bride, on how much she would have to plan if she doesn't have a planner. So you got to like the plan stuff, plan events specifically. Hopefully you plan something in your life if you would like to be a DIY bride and plan it all yourself. We are now at our segment called Be My Guest. I would love for you to come on the show with me here on Your Wedding Series podcast. I want to have you here on the show with me. And how we're going to do that is that I'm going to interview you with some questions that involve your wedding love story, your love story in general, and how the wedding planning process is either going for you right now or how it went. Everyone's got a story, and I would love to get to share it with our audience here on Your Wedding Series, because it's going to help them. It's going to give them confidence in being able to do this thing called a wedding and then marriage. Okay, so if you would like to share, if you're excited, if you just love weddings in general, say like you were a guest and there were things that you saw that you're like, oh, that could have been a lot better, or they did a great job, this was a beautiful wedding, everything was perfect, I couldn't see anything that was wrong. You could also be a guest on the wedding series. Now, if you are in this part right now where you're trying to build this calendar and you're like, oh my gosh, this is complicated, I want to give some people advice on what I did and some milestones that I added, I would also like to have you on the series as well. So there's lots of things that we could talk about and that I can interview you with these questions. And there might be some things that you're like, hey, can I talk about this too? Because this happened to me. And I don't think that a lot of brides share it, or a lot of people don't realize that this does happen. And so we would love to hear that story. The audience would love to hear. I know I would love to hear. I just love weddings. I love love. That's what it is. I love love. And when two people come together to form a union, to be a family, it's near and dear to my heart. So if you want to be a guest, please send me an email at yourcontentcreator@yahoo.com. And guess what, lovebirds? This is the end of the episode. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. I hope that y'all have been enjoying these wedding planning videos, tips, guidance, all the things. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, lovebirds.
Lights, camera, action, baby, strike a pose. Phones and cameras out, just watch it all unfold. We're the stars of the show, ain't no need for filters. Living life through the lens, capturing our breath. Put away your phones and cameras, let the good times roll. Our content creators got it all under control. From weddings to events, parties, travel and brands, we're living the paparazzi life, it's all in our hands. Lights, camera, action, we're ready to go. We're professionals, don't you already know? From TikTok to Instagram, we're taking the lead. Content creator, we're planting the seed. Get ready for the social media explosion.